Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Everything here is great. Oh, yeah, I'm good. I feel great. I still have a little drainage, but I feel good. Have you ever had your hearing tested? And why not? Just curious. My family's been telling me for a while that I need to have my hearing checked because I can't hear when they talk, whatever. Uh, And I have hearing insurance through my employer. I signed up for it long ago, and I've never used it because I just was like, I have it just in case, and it's like $1 a month or something. It's some ridiculous price. So I decided when we were on the cruise, when we go to concerts, I wear earplugs. I'm always up front, and I'm always, especially at Flogging Molly, I'm right in front of the guitar player. And so the main stack is usually right here. Like the right hand stage stack is right here. So I always wear earplugs when I'm in front at a concert. And on the cruise, I discovered, I didn't know this was a thing, that musicians have custom molded earplugs that have these removable filters. So you can pop the filter out, put in a different level, different dB reduction. And I was like, oh, I saw. So one of my musician friends had a pair, and I was like, what is that, and where do I get them? And he was like, these are just what I just said. And he's like, I said, because I said I noticed a lot of artists on the boat, and he laughed about that. He's like, these aren't special. Like you can go get these. And I was like, really? I didn't know it was a thing. And he was like, yeah. He said, you just go to. I said, do I go to an audiologist? He said, yeah. They just take an impression of your ears, and then you can get custom plugs. And I was like, that sounds phenomenal. Sign me up. So with that, getting off, because, well, I'll tell you that in a second. No, I'll tell you that right now. When I go to a concert, I usually take those little foam plugs that you have to roll in your fingers and then stick in there. But my right ear, for whatever reason, it does not want to stay. It'll often pop out in the middle of a show, and I have to redo it, and then I'm sitting there holding my ear, trying not to go deaf, that sort of stuff. So I thought if I could get custom molded plugs, I just push in and they stay. Sign me the heck up. So I signed up. I went online. I looked up my insurance. I found out where they're accepted around here, and I went and made an appointment. And I showed up today. And here's the thing: like everybody my age, mid 40s. I've been a mechanic in my life. I do a lot of woodworking. I go to a lot of concerts. I listen to music loud. I ride a motorcycle with no hearing protection. I just assumed I had hearing loss, right? Duh. I just, I try to protect it as much as I can now, but I've done enough damage over the years that it's just what it is. So going to admit that is a big thing, right? Like I didn't want to admit that I have hearing loss. I didn't want to say, come home and be like, all right, I have to get hearing aids and I have to now wear a device because I'm uh, hearing, impaired or whatever. I didn't want that. Nobody wants that. In fact, when I went to fill out the form, so when you go to the doctor and they have you do the thing, one of the questions on this form was if you are diagnosed with hearing loss, are you willing to accept help? Or it said, are you ready to accept help? And I thought, man, that's a powerful question, right? Like, I guess if I wasn't, why would I be here? But it was a situation of, depending on where my hearing loss fell on the spectrum, am I willing to put a hearing aid in all the time? I don't know. Depends on how bad it is, right? So I had a hearing test. And the good news is I don't have very much hearing loss. Very little. In fact, the guy said that my hearing was excellent and that it's been a long time since he's done a hearing test that was that good. And he showed me on the little thing, there's like a chart of how much hearing loss you have. And my right ear was all just fine. Just fine. My left ear, I do have a little bit, but it's still in the normal hearing range. It's still like I have like a 15% loss on a couple of the decibels level in my left ear. But it was like, my hearing was good enough that no insurance would cover hearing aids. I don't need hearing aids, essentially. And so that's a good sign. That's a good thing. But I was like, going into this, I'm reading this little chart, and it's like, do you have ringing in your ears? Yeah, I have tinnitus. I know that. do people complain that you have the TV too loud? Yeah. Do people complain that you talk too loud? Yeah. Do people complain that do people mumble? Yes. I answered yes to all these quite like yeah. That's why I'm here. And then it puts me in this little booth, puts the things in my ears. I do the clicky test. The right ear, some of those noises were really faint, but I heard them. The left ear, it cut out a lot. There were sections where I was like, I can't hear that. And so I was convinced, like when I left, when he opened the door to the booth, I thought for sure he's going to be like, bro, you need hearing aids, Like after this questionnaire, all this stuff people had told me, like, Dad, you need to get your hearing checked. You can't hear anything, whatever. No, I'm fine. Like I'm okay. But I'm glad I did it, right? Now I can wave that. No, I'm not. But I'm glad that I now know for sure that my hearing is good and I can protect it. I can now get hearing aids, or not hearing aids, hearing custom molded earplugs, which they took a mold of today, which was a really weird experience. I assume it's the same thing for hearing aids. They basically put a cotton ball in your ear to protect your eardrum, and then they take this, literally looks like a 2-part epoxy gun. It's got a mixing tip and everything, and they squeeze this stuff in your ears, like expanding foam, and it fills your ear cavity and sets, and then they pull it out. And then they send those off, and I will have custom molded earplugs with changeable filters so I can adjust the range of sound reduction, and I'll be able to protect my ears easier without having them pop out. I discovered the reason why my right ear is always a problem is I have really tiny ear canal in my right ear. Like it's really small. Small enough to be concerning. Right? Small enough that it's hard to get, not to be concerning, that it's really hard to get an earplug in. So having these custom molded jobs where I can just go bloop and they're in and they stay, I am very excited for that. But yeah, if you're, my age and you've been around a lot of loud noises, you should probably have your hearing checked. It's probably worth it. I know that Adam Savage has spoke to the quality of life improvement after he finally decided it was time to see an audiologist, and now he's very, very happy with his hearing, and he was not aware how bad it was. So maybe do something about it. There you go. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is sybaritic. It's an adjective meaning relating to self-indulgent, sensuous luxury and pleasure. Selena rubbed the suntan lotion over her tanned middle slowly, and the whole thing had an erotic, sybaritic quality that made the men's eyes pop out of their heads. Sybaritic. Sybaritic. That's a fun word. I don't know that I'll remember it and use it ever, but I've never watched a person put on suntan lotion and been aroused. That seems a bit weird.